Hello, and welcome to Mean Street News. Mean Street News is here to provide accurate news to help citizens affect change in their local government and beyond. Being nice is overrated. It is time to be real. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. The time to step up and step in is now. So please come join me, Katie, over on Mean Street News to discuss Ohio politics and beyond. I hope to see you there. Hello and welcome back to Main Street News. If you're new here, thank you for joining us. I am Katie. I'm your host. And tonight we are getting back into a quick synopsis of part 2 of our investigation of the Ohio Four. The Ohio Four are John Edwards, Alfred Cleveland, Lenworth Edwards, and Ian, Benson Davis. They called him Ian. I still don't know why. But Benson Davis were arrested and charged originally with felonious assault against a woman named Marsha Blakely, and then were upgraded to murder charge of Marsha Blakely. I'm going to show you guys a quick picture for those that are new here. To the left is Marsha Blakely. To the right is Floyd Epps. Marsha was living with Floyd Epps, and the reason I put Floyd Epps up there is because at the time of the murder, both were murdered about the same night, pretty much. It's like early morning night, and how the dates go. But it was August 7th, August 8th of 1991, 35 years next week. Floyd Epps' murder is still unsolved, even though the Lorain County Coroner informed detectives at the time that both were killed in the same manner. Both had their throats slit. Floyd was ran over by a car. They originally thought maybe it was a hit and run, but then quickly found out that he died from his throat being slit in the same way, depth, manner that Marsha's was, and they were living. She was living in his apartment at the time. So, and they both knew each other. It was the same night. I mean, her blood was actually found on a car boot at the crime scene, and that came out in 2013 during Al Cleveland's trial. So, like I said yesterday, I got involved in this because of what was going on with J.D. Tollinson, the prosecutor of Lorain County at the time. I'm not a murder investigator, but this one really piqued my interest because of the players involved, and the audacity of the investigation. I want to say, like, the audacity that Alfred Cleveland was in New York at the time. So was Benson Davis. Shakim was at Charlie's Bar all night with witnesses. Can easily track him. And Lenny was in Elyria. He's not as trackable, but he wasn't in Lorain, and was with other people at the time as well. But these detectives had a problem on their hands with these New York gentlemen that came into Lorain, Ohio, wanting to sell crack cocaine, and needed to get rid of them, as the lead detective Taliano states in one of the interviews with Gwen Mincy. we have a problem with these New York boys. A couple years ago, we had trouble with these Detroit boys. We had to get rid of them. Now we got to get rid of the New York boys because they had a master plan to come in and take over with drugs and guns and get rid of the locals. And my question is, why would the lead detective be concerned about the local drug traffickers getting their territory, stepped on? It's, it's a question. I didn't know the police were enforcers for local drug dealers. Hmm. But that's exactly what they said. And these men, two still serving time. Shakim isn't up for parole till 2028. He's still incarcerated for the murder of Marsha Blakely. And Benson Davis is up for parole this year in November for the murder of Marsha Blakely. Lenworth Edwards and Albert Cleveland were paroled. I want to say a year ago, year and a half, 2 years ago, they were paroled. Our former county prosecutor, Jay Tomlinson, picked up the ball late, like I explained. Right before he left office, he tried to give these guys a new trial. That wasn't going to happen. And as I've said, JD should have done this a lot sooner. I mean, he exonerated Nancy Smith and kind of stopped there. And, for all the time that he was attacked for doing so, he could have corrected another wrong. And he didn't. But after facing 3 felony charges in municipal court, facing the same felony charges in county court, being attacked by the former old guard, as I'd like to say, former prosecutor, former assistant prosecutor, bringing stuff up about his girlfriend, ex-girlfriend that was his employee. He was, charged, and maybe he got a little taste of what it really felt like to be, wrongfully charged for a crime that you are innocent of. And maybe it was his come to Jesus moment. Who knows? I honestly think it was wrong. But that's just my opinion. Tonight, though, I want to start with sharing with you guys how you can actually, view all of the episodes and listen to all of the interviews. Tonight, I'm just going to play a couple clips of the interviews of, suspect statements, but how you guys can really listen to the whole thing and grasp, the severity of it. These interviews have never been heard by, well, now they have, but a couple parts of it have never been heard by Shakim or Lenworth Edwards. He never had heard the interviews of Marsha Blakely's boyfriend, baby dad, Willie Mincy, who was the last person known to be with her at 2 a.m. the night that on August 8th of 1991. Her time of death is between 12 and 3 a.m. And, we can kind of really account for all of her whereabouts up until she was with Willie Mincy at 2 a.m. And she was stabbed 15 to 20 times in her facial area and neck. Her earlobe was detached. She had contusions to her face. She had previous contusions to her face made by Willie Mincy 2 weeks prior, according to Barbara Long, who stated that in her interview that her eye was still red, like the white part of her eye was still red, but the bruising around it had gone away. But she had been wearing sunglasses for 2 weeks because her and Willie had got into it, and he apparently punched her in the face. So I want to keep that in account too. Is Willie Mincy, he has a history of violence. Now, the story that the detectives want to adopt is that she had some kind of drug debt to these New York guys, and that is why, they killed her. But no one's stabbing somebody and slitting their throat over a crack sack, like a $10 20 sack. There's another story that she smoked up $2,000 worth of crack cocaine. That's just implausible, and I think that's not really possible. for one person to consume that much crack in such a short time with not, someone noticing. Okay. But what's really sus is when we go through the police report, these detectives, I don't really think cared about who really killed Marsha Blakely and Floyd Epps. I think they had a problem they wanted to get rid of, and they saw this as an opportunity to do so. And we're going to prove it. But if you guys want to go back and watch and listen to all the interviews and watch it, I'm going to show you real quick. It is very easy to... Here we go. Share this. You go to my website, mainstreetnews.com, and you go down here. It says on Spotify, but here's all the other places you guys can hear all the episodes and the interviews. Also, if you go up to the homepage, sorry, not the homepage. Sorry. You go to Main Street News, you go down. The first thing is Ohio 4. You click that. That's going to take you right here. And starting to the left, going to the right, that is Shakim, John Edwards. That is Benson Davis next. That is Lenworth Edwards and Alfred Cleveland. Now, here's a little summation of everything that happened. In November of 2024, Josh Dubin of the Perlmutter Center for Legal Justice appeared on Joe Rogan podcast to raise awareness on the case and explain the political nonsense that occurred during the last election cycle that we talked about yesterday that inhibited the current prosecutor from helping exonerate the four. Lorain County Prosecutor J. Thompson was attacked by his political opponents, his own doing. Tomlinson charged with 3 felonies a week ago for early voting to influence the outcome of the 2024 election. Now, you can click on that article and read that. But after losing his election to the Lorain County prosecutor in November, all the charges were dismissed against Prosecutor Tomlinson before leaving office. And due to public pressure, Prosecutor Tomlinson decided to file a motion to get the Ohio 4 trial, which did not work out. This was after he lost his election. Main Street News had been following the Tomlinson case, and after extensive review of the documents provided by Josh Dubin, Katie's come to the same conclusion that these men are innocent. I am 99.999999999% positive they are innocent. Below is a photo gallery of pertinent testimony and all Main Street News episodes covering the Ohio 4. The articles going into greater detail of the case can be found here, and the defense and Katie have come to the same conclusion that, again, they're innocent. Today I ask you, and this is what I'm asking you today as well, is that you reach out to the new county prosecutor, Tony Sillo, who withdrew defense motions for new trials upon taking office January 25, after he promised, and this is me adding, so after he promised the public that he would look back into it. Let him know our expectations for him to do the right thing after 3 decades and free the 4. And, it's not just about the Ohio 4. It's really too also with Tony is his job as a prosecutor is to pursue justice. And that's both sides. And I feel like all across the state, all across the country, these prosecutors are thinking their job is to make sure that innocent people stay in prison because of some, I don't know, legacy of Tony's, best friend who prosecuted these men. I don't know, some legacy of the, nobody ever gets it wrong. I don't know. But I wouldn't want this on my conscience. A reinvestigation of the murders of Marsha Blakely and Ray Epps needs to be conducted with fresh eyes. We should not be using people's lives for political careers or games. And it's not. And here's a template of a letter. If you want to change it, there's the docx and then there's the PDF. Just, print it, send it. It helped them. So then we start with the series back to 1991. You can watch all of the episodes, Mincy's, Gwen's, interviews. I also interview Shakim, which is a really good one right here. Shakim, who is currently in prison. That's John Edwards. And he gets to listen to clips of the interviews. I mean, it's really it's really in depth, and we're continuing interviews, not just Barbara Long. We're moving on to Delphina Geis, and then we're going to be talking about William Avery Jr., who was the crack addicted witness who was also the son of Detective Taliano's former drug task force snitch. Then, there's also, the best parts of these 100-page police reports, the real damning ones I also posted on here, just for example, this little note that was put in about, there's no evidence linking the four, but, we're going to look at them. And this is literally 2 days after the interview, Willie Mincy, which is weird. So as you can see it on there, that we also have the videos of the rallies of the Ohio Four and the episodes I did at that time with them. So really, if you want to go on here, you can go on my web. It's really easy to watch these episodes, and I want you guys to take advantage and do that. So if you want to get caught up on, everything that's going on. But tonight we are going to start with the second interview of Willie Mincy. Just kind of go over that real quick. Some things that he said that I thought, is pertinent. And I want to start with, before we get to it, I mentioned a man named Herbert Wallace who was with Willie Mincy about 4 a.m. the night that Marsha Blakely was killed. I just want to play a quick clip because I said something yesterday. I told you yesterday that, Willie Mincy came into the interview, and I played that clip with Detective Taliano thinking, acting like he didn't know Marsha was deceased, because when the police arrived at Willie Mincy's house the day Marsha was murdered at about 2:00, he acted like he didn't know. Well, he fled, and then when they picked him up after he fled and brought him to the station, he pretended that he didn't know Marsha was dead. But he did know. And how do we know that? It's because what Herbert Wallace said. And I'm going to play that clip for you real quick, okay? Yeah, share my entire screen. Hold on. Shh.
And then what'd you do? I walked home. And then a couple hours later, though, about 9:30 maybe, his mother brought him over to my house because he was worried about me being depressed. And that's when we found out that Marsha got killed because Gwen came over.
Did you take any pills?
Who? You. Did I take any? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were some muscle relaxers.
Yeah. What did you do with the rest of them?
I gave them to him to throw away for me because I said, "Look, man," I said, "you came over and I was depressed and I was talking about killing myself." I said, "I'm glad you came, man." We talked a little bit, and I said, "Tell you what, here, do me a favor, throw these away for me." And
where was that at?
At my house. At my house. So anyway, then about a half an hour later, his mother, Gwen and his ex-wife, they came over in the car, and I thought Gwen was coming over to talk to me about me and her relationship because she was crying. And she called me in the kitchen and says they found Marsha dead. Would I come back with them to the house? So
who's Marsha dealing with drugs with?
Everybody. It's just see, that's the problem. Marsha and Gwen are basically the same type women.
So just based off of that, we know Marsha, that Willie knew at 10:00 in the morning that Marsha was found dead. And they didn't even arrive to Marsha's body until 9:30 that morning. So within a half an hour, they knew. Gwen Mincy, the sister, and Vanessa, the ex-wife of Willie Mincy, showed up and informed them what I already think he knew, but informed them that they were deceased. Yeah. So then on the day after, Willie Mincy decides that he has, more information and wants to come and talk to the detectives. So after, I'm going to share my screen again. Hold on. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share the mirror map with you guys. I'm sorry, give me 2 seconds. Like I said, I'm getting warmed up with this after being gone for so long. Okay. Move up here. Here we go. So then E9 decides. So the first few minutes of the interview, Taliano summarizes to Mincy what he told them the previous day. And, I just think that's kind of unusual. Like, why would you be like, okay, yesterday you told me blank, 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 blank. You know what I mean? I find it really weird that, like, that's like the thing that's how, hold on, I'll fix this real quick. I don't want that. No. This is bothering me. Hold on. Sorry, it was bothering me. Okay. So I find it really odd that, like, even, I wanted to note that because I think it's unusual as a detective, like when he's following up with somebody that should be a suspect, should be a main suspect, that, you're going to do a whole summation of, what he said to him the day before. So, and I want you to clock this because Willie Mincy, Detective Taliano states this multiple times in the first interview and in the second interview to Willie Mincy is that, after speaking with everybody, no one knew Marsha Blakely better than Willie Mincy, which was the baby dad, last person with her. And that he's the closest person to her. And the next point is, I thought funny was Mincy states he does not believe anyone would kill her the way they did over a drug debt. That doesn't make any sense. And states at the beginning of the interview, and again, when he asked about the drug tip by Taliano at 5:28 minutes, he states no one is running her over, over a drug debt. And he did not think that's why she was even killed. And, the biggest part about this interview as well is Willie Mincy says at the 4:41 minute mark, and I want to play this for you guys, is that, Marsha used to carry a little knife too when she did her dirt. And Detective Poliano asks what kind of knife. And Willie Mincy says, a little knife like this. Well, I want to say this. If you put into ChatGPT right now, the description that the coroner gave of the weapon that was used to slit the throats of Marsha Blakely and Floyd Epps, it comes up a pocket knife, like a regular sharp bladed pocket knife, which would be, something that someone just pulled out. And then, at the 4:49 minute mark, he says, where did she keep her knife? And he says, Willie Mincy replies, it was in her purse. Not, oh, she kept it in her purse. No. He's saying it was in her purse, which is kind of a tell. Like, oh, when I went into her purse, because he's the one that took her purse that night. Remember, he told us that in the last interview. He said it was in it. And my other thing is when he pulls up this knife, why the hell didn't Detective Taliano be like, hey, let me take that for some evidence? I think I need to see that. I think we need to take a look at that, maybe test her blood or something, or take that knife as, evidence, because this is fucking nuts. And we're going to play this real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, or did. Nothing much. So what you don't think your boyfriend, you should know they would be illegal that you didn't have any underwear on your head and how much you think she was in these people with for?
I don't think that she was into it. I mean, the way somebody run her over with a car. I mean, I don't think that don't make no sense. I don't understand. You know, I'm even a little bit scared, you know, because I was riding up on this car. You know what I'm saying? I really not like this.
Which two?
Everything I thought.
Right.
This purse right here?
No, guy named Lynn. That's when we
And maybe she didn't.
yeah.
Or-
But you know,
Carry the knife in her pocket. That's fine.
like I know, I only seen it on that night.
Some differences?
We didn't have. Not like this.
Which two?
Everything I thought.
This purse right here?
No, not
Some differences?
She didn't have 200 pesos. But you know,
Carry the knife in her pocket. That's fine.
like I know, I only seen it night.
Let me ask you a question. Did you wear underwear in the room?
No, not that one.
Bra can?
So they asking, oh, did she ever, after that, don't she ever wear underwear? And we said, oh, a little knife like this. Oh. I gotta fix the minutes on that because I did it way too ahead. I'm just reading my thing. And then you hear him say right afterwards what we were just talking about. I don't think, you know, we kill her with some drugs or with it like this. You know. And then I thought it was odd too. He's like, you know, Taliano always like, Willie think, you know, you're gonna tell us information. Willie thinks they're gonna do something to him. It's not because of that. You know, he's reminded him multiple times through these both interviews, like, oh, you're not a suspect. Whoa. Who would be? You know what I mean? So he also, Willie Mincy states in his interview that, you know, when he got down to Epps' apartment, he states no one was in the house. And then Tony asked how he got in, and Willie Mincy states the door was unlocked. But what I found really interesting about this is that, you know, when Floyd Epps was found, he had a key on him for his house. And when Marsha was found, she also had a key to the house on her. So clearly they locked their houses when they left. So why in the world would you, and nobody's leaving their door open in the projects. It's just not a thing. But Willie got in. So the same time, Willie states that the door was unlocked. He peeked in. No one was there. The TV was on. He stated he did not go in, but then he admits that he went in to use the bathroom. So, you know, make that make sense. I never saw her. I mean, it was never in there. And then you went to use the bathroom. And then after leaving, he rode his bike around. His chain broke, which is when the story of he saw Leonard walking, sitting on the couch outside home when he got back. While sitting and talking with Leonard Walker, Willie stated that his sister, who told him to go with her back to his mom's house, they both walked straight down 21st to the mother's house. And I don't really understand why they walked on 21st if they're on 23rd to get to 23rd Street. I mean, that doesn't really make sense, but whatever. Why they would go on 21st Street. Now, where Marsha was dropped off, where the body was dropped off was off 21st Street. Gwen was in a van. I don't know, clock that though. Gwen told Willie that she saw him and Marsha about 1 a.m. Marsha told him to go back to the house, stated no, he was out, but went and got his shoes and went down to talk to her. Okay. Taliano also asked where Walker was all night. Willie states that he was at Epps' house all night. He knows because he was there with him, stayed there about 4 a.m., then went back to his nephew's bike. When he rode back to the house, Leonard Walker was sitting in the chair inside the house. Well, this is so funny about Leonard Walker. He said they ran into him while walking to Epps' house, not while when he was originally interviewed the day before. And then, you know, when he said he got to Marsha's house originally that nobody was there, now he's saying differently. And then he's trying to act like he was with him the whole time. And I don't think that's the fact. I think after the bar closed, Leonard was drunk, went back to Epps to keep partying, thinking Floyd would be home. wasn't home, and I think he passed out in the chair, inside, not outside, but inside the house. When Willie got back from, I think, getting murdered, when he got back, I think that's when Leonard was there. Gwen told Willie, went back to Epps at 4 a.m. Say they're early with Herbert Wallace, Quincy's boyfriend. Now, what's funny with Wallace is Wallace said, he saw Gwen in this van around 3 to around 3:30, 4 a.m. at 7-Eleven, but when he saw the van go down the street where Marsha's staying, there wasn't any, and he followed and went down to the house, and they weren't around. They were nowhere to be found. But they were apparently together. Even they weren't even around his mother's house because Herbert Wallace went down there. And I wonder where they went. Maybe go clean up, or I don't know. So then at the 10:46 mark, I found it interesting. Italiano asked when the last time he had seen Marsha, and Mincy starts to say, when she knocked me, and then Italiano interrupts with, left your mother's house. And my thing is, what did he mean by when she knocked me? Did Marsha hit him? I mean, she told him the day before, don't come down to the place and stay in Epps' apartment on the shit that you're on. So clearly they were arguing. But that's interesting.
Who would want to kill her?
I don't know. I don't even know.
Well, that's probably a couple beliefs. Nobody knew her better than you. If she's your girlfriend and nobody knew her better than you, then who else would she tell, or you would be the person she'd want to tell if she was having a problem with somebody?
Marsha didn't tell me a lot of things.
You had 3 kids together. You should have had 2 kids. She must have told you so.
Yeah,
Like Joe Smith over here said he's going to kill me because I messed up with dope there. I messed up the stuff he's going to do me. Or I'm messing around with these guys right here. These guys from Detroit or wherever, whoever.
Riding up on this car, and both off the bike slot. Went around there. But,
Well,
least that I think about it.
who are you talking to her about?
About my stuff. We talk. Go down.
At 1:30.
Yeah.
And you tried to catch up with her, and it wasn't until you got to 1:30 you saw the car pull up. You never catch up.
Yeah.
When she left your mother's house and on 1:30. So the last time you saw Marsha was when you tried to catch up.
Yeah.
When she left.
And we walked around and talked. Go down, read.
So the last time you saw Marsha was when you tried to catch.
She knocked me. And then he cuts her off. Then she knocked me. So I went back. Sorry, my timing's off on my minutes on my notes here. And I don't know why it's fucking with me. But it's really interesting. Well, then he goes on. I'm going to keep playing this right now. Then he goes on to say, we talked about that white station wagon yesterday, and I told you that's a bullshit story. He admits right here it was a bullshit story.
So when she left your mother's house on 16:09, 1:30, and you tried to catch up with her, and it wasn't until you got to 1:30 you saw the car pull up. You never actually saw her. You don't know that she was in that car, and you never actually saw her after she walked away from the house, the mother's house, right? Okay, so let's get back to the point. Point is,
nobody knew her better than you. So here he says that you never actually saw that car after you left your mother's house. No. So white station wagon. Out. And, he said no one knew her better than you. And then he, follows up with, who would want to kill her? Only minute responds, I don't know. I don't even know. Taliana follows up stating, well, no one knew her better than you. You'd be the only person she would tell she's having trouble with anyone. You had 2 kids with her. She must have told you something. Like Joe Smith told me he's going to kill me because blah, blah, blah. And then, another point is, states again that Marsha told Willie that if a motherfucker ran up on her, they knew what they would get, meaning that she had a knife again on her purse. But he did not know who she was dealing with or buying her shit from, which I find interesting. Now, Taliano asked Mincy if she had a snitch jacket down, known to be a snitch. So this girl, Tawanda, and he goes in, Willie Mincy goes about this girl, Tawanda, and her brother's Tomek sells dope. That Marsha bought dope from them one time. His sister told him not to sell dope to Marsha because she was a snitch. He's just trying to give him reasons that Marsha bought dope from Tomek, George McCall. Willie states he didn't know him, all kinds of people. Taliano, he says, where do you buy your drugs to Willie Mincy? and he gets all bashful. And then, Taliano's like, we know you do it. We've talked to you about a dozen people. Your name comes up. You two are doing the same thing together. It's not a newsflash. We're two boxers over here sparring. Give it time for people to get the heck out of here, cover their tracks, destroy evidence. Like I told you yesterday, we need your help. You're helping a lot of others. Otherwise, these people are going to walk. Who is he talking about? Who are these people? What did he tell? What did Taliano tell Willie Mincy? Don't you find it weird that the detective's like, we need your help? We need your help, or these people are going to walk. What? What?
Where do you buy your drugs if you don't buy them over there?
Well, it's about a company over there.
Where do you buy your drugs if you don't buy them over there? Well, you already know this, dude. We've been talking about 24 people. And every time, your name comes up, the two of you were doing the same thing together. So there ain't no, it's not exactly a newsflash. And we're not here to pop you because you gotta have it. We're trying to solve a murder, two murders. Okay, so now let's get back to business and quit goofing around. Okay? Oh, that's it. Let's quit goofing around here, but we're like two boxes, you're sparring, you wanna know what I got, and I'm trying to find out what you got. Why don't we just get to the truth? Because the longer you wait, the longer somebody's got a chance to get the heck out of here, or cover the track, or destroy everything. I told you yesterday, you need to help. You're helping a lot of others. Otherwise, these people are gonna walk. Okay, they brutally kill two people. One was your girlfriend. So why don't we help each other and do some business?
Boy, they never hurt nobody.
As I can tell, you're Marsha. I want to spill somebody Twinkies out of the store sitting there for anybody. She only hurt herself. These two people just got wasted. I don't mean they didn't just get, all right, boom, you're dead. I mean, these people were tortured. So let's do it, these guys, you get them and get it over with. Before they do it to somebody else. They do you.
Worries about your safety this morning.
Well, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about how we do these people, who they are.
So he says, well, I know I didn't do it. And he said, oh, well, let's not talk about that. What? And who are these people that the detective is referring to? Who has he spoken to that has said these people did other people did something? I mean, it's honestly insanity. And then at the 2020 mark, Taliano asked directly, you're telling us, who did Martha? And she states the way I'm feeling. I'm saying she was telling me with the people next door, the Puerto Rican, Cuban, blah, 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 people next door. Taliano responds, the people next door didn't offer or employ Marsha. Like they didn't fuck with Marsha. So then at the end of the interview, I found this really interesting. Mincy said, they said to Mincy, if you're lying, you better let us know. Willie Mincy follows up asking, And he didn't really respond, but his follow-up is asking about the witness who saw Marsha go into the apartments. And Taliano states, though, he thinks he knows who he's talking about, but he doesn't give out that information, even though the day before he told about Mary Jane Gonzalez. And Mary Jane Gonzalez noticed the day before that the same car that she saw Marsha get into and drive by that had a effed up muffler the day before is now fixed and is circling her home, and calls detectives on 8-9 and informs them this car is driving by my house. I think she was scared. And, I think Willie was worried about a witness. And I think the witness that saw him, my belief is Mary Jane Gonzalez. So through this interview, we're just going to go summarize real quick. Mincy's serious Italian on what happened to Blakely. First, he has no clue. Marsha doesn't tell him a lot because she gets mad. He mentions the guy, Glenn, again, who got evicted. His sister told him that a guy might have had something to do with it. Mentions problems with Detroit guys, saying she smoked up all her stuff but did not elaborate. And that was about 3 minutes in. Those people that lived next door to Floyd, the George McCall, came around here buying dope from a neighbor at 1335. One day she didn't have enough money and she was slapped with dope and then came back. One name she did tell him was George McCall. Taliano just responds, I wonder what George McCall tells me. Willie goes quiet. So that's interesting. At the end of the interview, he mentions the apartment next to Epps again, but then states doesn't know anyone's name. Before this, he states shack. Willie states definitely, but doesn't know the other ones. He doesn't know a lot of names. Taliano cuts him and Resendez off and quickly brushes off and states he doesn't know name. Were they trying to get him to say Shakim and he read it wrong or couldn't process or follow them? And Willie Mincy states again, he doesn't know their names. I think, Willie Mincy has a drug problem. And I think the last person that was with her, and, Marsha seen Mary Jane Gonzalez the day before trying to cop some money. I think it was to feed their drug habit, to be honest. And, it's honestly crazy. But it's I don't know how what's driving me crazy about all this is I don't know how they're not questioning Willie more. They're trying to get Willie to say something to implicate these people. And then you have these crazy interviews with Willie Mincy and his sister. I mean, not his sister yet, but Willie Mincy. And on the police report, let me remove this. Hold on. And then I want to pull up the police report where they talk about Willie originally. So this is where it says, Gonzalez tells him Willie Mincy might be able to provide the information. As the officer approached the residence, he saw disturbance and Willie Mincy took off. This officer and structure observed several people attempting to restrain Willie Mincy. And then he took off later that day. They found Willie and detained him, and then went and questioned him. Let me pull up this one. Okay, do you hate me right now? So then it says, Willie came into contact with Marsha Blakely at approximately 2 a.m. on Thursday, August 8th at Miller's residence. She reportedly arrived at the location to speak with Mincy. She had been previously upset with Mincy and walked to discuss the matter. did not indicate she had been assaulted, but we know she had been assaulted because Mary Jane Gonzalez said at 12:30 she was assaulted. Okay, this hates me right now. This won't work. Come on. I think it's because I have these open. I don't need this one. Hold on. I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff. Oh, okay. Now it's running better. That was my issue. I have too many shits open. I need this. Okay. Sorry, my computer was like overloading. It's not letting me load stuff when I do that. Okay, so they were gonna walk to the residence. Willie Mincy grabbed her purse from her. I told you that was odd. Barbara Long said she didn't go anywhere without her purse. Her purse ended up back at the house with her missing shoe. Stated that he utilized a bicycle, rode up. What's really weird though is the walk is so long that, like, okay, he went in his house, grabbed his shoes, grabbed his hat, got on a bike. He would have easily caught up to Marsha. So it's very weird that he's like, oh, all of a sudden I didn't see her. Like, very odd. And clearly she made it back home if her other shoe was there. You know what I mean? Walked towards the residence out of Mincy's view. Let's see what else. The witness proceeded to the residence, discovered that neither Epps or Blakely were home. Mincy discovered that Leonard Walker, further identified page 5 of this report, was sleeping inside the Epps residence. Mincy stated that Walker was outside the apartment and they spoke for a period of time. He left and returned to the residence during the early morning hours. So he left. There's a period of him being gone. So the Mincy indicated that he remained at the Epps residence until 7, 8 a.m. that morning, reportedly. This officer questioned Mincy, referenced relationship with Blakely and her lifestyle. This officer was advised that he and Blakely had been romantic for several years, discontinued. He cared for her deeply and wanted her to discontinue her street life activities, even though he was doing them as well. Mincy was either reluctant or unable to provide identification of persons Blakely may have been indebted with as a result of her crack addiction. Subsequently interviewed, Mincy did provide information around Blakely's street drug contacts. So he's setting up to say, you see the story he's setting up. Let's see. Then on 8/91, Mincy was provided a synopsis of the information provided by Mary Jane Gonzalez. As noted within this Bureau report, Mincy was unable to offer factual information around the vehicle or physical signs of the earlier assault. Mincy did offer possible scenario involving a Puerto Rican, New York drug trafficker. Interview linked the deaths of the victims of unidentified drug trafficker. Further discussion regarding Detroit drug connection. Mincy, upon further interview, suggested that the time frame he placed his contact with Blakely reported to be 2 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. may be incorrect, but his stepfather corrected that for them. A complete account of 8/8. Let's see what this one is. This is from the police report too. Friday, August 9th, he re-interviewed Willie Mincy, provided additional information, inclusive of the information was the name of several persons routinely purchased crack cocaine from in Lorain Drive, Reeves, a strip area in the city. And then it says for detailed count, go to that. But he said a lot more in that interview than just that, which is kind of, he's very vague about Willie Mincy. So then we go to Gwen Mincy, and we're not there yet, so I can't really go there yet. And I don't want to go there tonight. We're going to go there on Sunday. We're going to wrap it up with Gwen and Barbara Long. And then we're going to go back to Delphina Geis. But before I leave you here tonight, I do want to show you. I'll go back to the murder map, the actual murder map, and show you where I'm going. Okay. So we talked to Willie Mincy, and he's the last one with her. He doesn't know, blah, blah, blah. Blase, blase, blase. Sorry, I'm pulling up the map for you guys. Let me take this down. Come on. Okay, so let's go to this murder map. There we go. You gotta bear with me for a second. My internet hates my life. Okay, let's see this here. So we got Floyd Epps, Marsha Blakely, right? We have the original people. And I added to this to show you guys tonight. So we have Willie Mincy, 23 years old. Marsha Blakely's. And then we have Mary Jane Gonzalez. Saw Marsha that night, was beat up, looking for money in a hurt. Jeremiah saw her right before he saw Mary Jane. Saw her, said, go do a trick with this Jeff guy for some crack cocaine, which she apparently did. Barbara Long saw her, dropped her off at Floyd Epps previous to her meeting up with Jeremiah Charlton. Marsha was in good health, was not beaten up. Jeremiah said she was in good health, not beaten up. But then all of a sudden, she's beaten up with Mary Jane after people have put her with Willie Mincy, including his sister Gwen Mincy, who's below Barbara Long. And then Gwen Mincy talks about this white boy Jeff, which we're going to get to next time. She brings up white boy Jeff that she had been drinking with, a neighbor of Gwen and Willie Mincy, who lived across the street, and claims that he saw a car matching the description that Mary Jane Gonzalez described, tailing Marsha Blakely the night that she disappeared. Thought it was very weird because there was a man outside of that car that was kind of not chasing, but walking towards Marsha while the car was trailing him. So this car, Gwen Mincy says in her interview that you're going to hear next time, she believed belonged to an Albert Mendez. And Detective Taliano, who's down here, and Resendez, well, Detective Taliano gets very weird about Albert Mendez's car when it's mentioned. And even in the police report, he puts that he couldn't find white boy Jeff, who lived with his mother. Stop the screen. Who lived with his mother across the street. Even puts in the police report. Here we go. Hold on, did I put that one up? Come on. Can't look. Yeah, there we go. So Gwen, regarding lifestyle, previously checked. Corrected. So the witness related the following: a neighbor to the date not identified or interviewed was to have advised Gwen that he observed a lone male exit a maroon dark red, just like Mary Jane Gonzalez said, vehicle and walk in the direction of Blakely as he walked west on West 23rd Street from Pole Avenue. This information coincides with that information provided by Willie Mincy and was to have occurred at about 2 a.m. hour on Thursday, August 8th. This officer has made several attempts to locate the witness and will continue to do so in order to obtain any usable information regarding this investigation. Well, Gwen will say in her interview on Sunday when we play it, little snaps I have of Gwen, she's going to say he lives across the street from my mom's house. So what, did he move in a day? On 2 days? How could you not find this witness? I don't think he wanted to find this witness. Because even Jeremiah Charlton said that she went with white boy Jeff. This white boy Jeff that lived across the street from Willie Mincy's mother's house where they all resided was named Jeff too, and he was a white boy. And Willie Mincy met up with Marsha outside his house. Was she leaving white boy Jeff's house? Was he mad that she copped some crack without him? Did that put him into a rage? He beat her up a little bit, took her to try to get some money so they can then go cop from someone else. But nothing was leading to these New York guys. And that needed to change. And of course, Taliano and Resendez found a way for it to change. Even in their police report, which is horrible. I mean, this is horrible. You can tell that they were gunning for, and I'm sorry, I need to share this. Hold on. They were gunning for the New York guys regardless. I mean, it didn't matter what the evidence was going to say because, let's see. I'm just going to do the entire screen on this thing. Share my audio. Here we go. It didn't matter. August 9th, 1991, okay? This is the police report that Taliano wrote. They interview Herbert Wallace. Delphina Geis is contacted by Resendez and Sergeant Rona the same day, 8:30 a.m. Lenworth was upstairs or something. When I talked to Delphina, she confirmed that. They went to the crime lab, whatever, but he puts in his report, he makes a note, okay, on not 8/9. This is the day after the murder, okay? The day after the murder, telling it's the police report that during the investigation, anonymous confidential informants provided scenarios that led to the death of Epps and Blakely, Detroit, Puerto Rican, and New York drug traffickers. These anonymous confidential informants indicated that Blakely stole and failed to account for drugs provided by various groups. Predominantly, information made reference to Jamaican Queens, New York dealers who have infiltrated the city with narcotics and violence. Taliano lists Shakim, Brian Daniels, B.I., Alfred Cleveland, Lenworth Edwards, Ian Davis, Tommy Blown, Justice Quinn, Supreme, Cat, and Tomo, attempting to locate witnesses who could account for the activities of the New York suspects. No one at this point has even said their names or could even say who the New York contacts were. But he puts in his report that anonymous, and this is going to be a theme with Taliano, that these anonymous people just pop up out of nowhere. That's different. Now, if you want to listen to the whole interview of Willie Mincy Willie Mincy from 8-8 and 8-9. You can't, and I break down as we go through the entire interview. I break down more than I'm breaking down here. This is just like I'm going to do quick summation, okay? But you got to go to my site, okay? Go to the Ohio 4, and right here you can hear the first two interviews, okay? Here's the first one. Here's the second one. And then we're going to move on to these two. These two tomorrow. But like I said, just go to my website and listen to those and stay focused. And that is all I have for you tonight, because I don't like to go past the hour mark, because people just don't have the attention span for it, and no one's watching a 2-hour podcast. So tonight, last thing we went over Willie Mincy's first interview, the second interview. Tomorrow we're going to go over the third interview, and you're going to see what changes, because now names are going to be said, and with the help of our detectives who should be investigating, and confidential informants and people anonymously are just pointing to these guys that they need to get rid of. And the whole time they're focused on Marsha. What about Floyd? 35 years later, what about Floyd? Did his life not matter? Clearly not to Rosena's and Taliano, because they even went down to BCI to investigate Marsha's, diagram, but Les George had to go for Floyd, even though the coroner told them that the murders were related. You can't make this stuff up. I'm happy to be back again. I'll see you guys Sunday evening. And we're going to get into the next two. Well, Sunday evening, or maybe we'll see what happens tomorrow. Maybe I sneak one in, or Saturday morning. I'm thinking Saturday morning, my husband's working. I might sneak it in. Yeah, Saturday morning. Let's do that. Saturday morning. We'll see you guys Saturday morning. We'll talk about Gwen and Mincy. Mincy's third interview, Gwen's first interview on the record, and what she says. But I am out. Peace and love. And I'm going to end you guys off with, Shakim's message to our new prosecutor, or not new, but he was in the criminal division forever, Tony Silla. Right there, that guy. We're going to play Shakim's message for Tony Silla right here. And you guys have a good day and peace. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I'm trying to play this at the same time I'm trying to talk. And you guys have a good day and peace and love. And I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so Shakim, the audience has heard all of these interviews. You are hearing bits and pieces just because of we can't sit and, you know what I mean, do that in where you're at. And they've heard all of these. They've heard they have heard every, the ones that are following us have heard Shakim.
Yeah, but this my thing, right? At that time in 1991, I was selling double ups, and I was selling double ups to the middle level drug dealers. So what I mean by double ups is like, what I sell to you, let's say you was a mid level drug.
Hold on. I don't think I'm going to be able to play it because it hates me. Let's do this. No. Well, I lied. We're not watching that. Because it won't let me play my whole recording. It's going to make me mad. All right, well, instead of that, let's end it with what Josh Dubin says about our prosecutor not doing the right thing here. Let's see.
I don't know anything about him, but I do find, I find it really difficult to understand why he took such an interest in this case, such that he blocked justice from happening and withdrew the state's position. How about hear us out and meet with us before you withdraw the joint motion to dismiss? How about that? How about you hear the evidence before making it the first official act or among the first official acts? It was just, I'm not optimistic going in, but I can tell you this. I have found something as recent as yesterday where alternative suspects were brought to the attention of the Lorain County prosecutor. And wouldn't you know that the person assigned to investigate these alternative suspects and to liaise with the police department was one Tony Sillo? I saw that document for the first time yesterday.
So what do you think that could mean?
I don't know what it means. I have a lot of questions.
Like I said, me and Josh don't really get along. But anyways, why was it Tony's first act? And I think it's to cover, bad things. But like the lead detective said, they had a problem.
These people have this master plan in their mind, what they want to do down there about controlling it with drugs and guns and taking over, get rid of the local, right, one person. These people have this master plan in their mind, what they want to do down there about controlling it with drugs and guns and taking over, get rid of the local, right. So these people have this master plan in their mind, what they want to do down there about controlling it with drugs and guns and taking over, get rid of the local, right. So the thing is, this master plan in their mind, what they want to do down there about controlling it with drugs and guns and taking over, get rid of the local, right. So the thing is, a few years ago, the boys from Detroit tried that. We got rid of them, right? Now the guys from New York, Queens move in. Now we just got to get rid of them. Every time somebody local from Detroit tried that, we got rid of them, right? Now the guys from New York, Queens move in. Now we just got to get rid of them. Every time somebody local from Detroit tried that, we got rid of them, right? Now the guys from New York, Queens move in. Now we just got to get rid of them. Every time somebody
one more time,
those boys from Detroit tried that, we got rid of them, right? Now the guys from New York, Queens move in. Now we just got to get rid of them. Every time somebody.
And we're going to use your friend's murder to do it. That's why they framed them. They don't care about Marsha Blakely. They didn't care about Marsha Blakely's murder. They didn't care about Floyd Epps' murder. That's why his murder is still unsolved. They cared about running the New York guys that were coming in and stepping on locals' toes out of the area.
Detroit tried that.
Just like the Detroit boys.
About controlling it with drugs and guns and taking over, get rid of the local, right. So the thing is, a few years ago, the boys from Detroit tried that. We got rid of them, right? Now the guys from New York, Queens move in. Now we just got to get rid of them. Every time somebody local.
Do you have those guys' names?
Which guy?
Thank you for joining me today on Mean Street. I hope you enjoyed the show. I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider supporting our work and supporting my effort. You can support directly underneath at the Spotify donations, or you can directly give a donation at paypal.me/Mean Street, Ohio. Any donation received will help me continue to provide news to you and everyone else across Ohio and beyond. I love what I do, and I just hope to continue to do it. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me today on Mean Street. I hope you enjoyed the show. I would greatly appreciate